I think no man should be fucking poor. There's so much shit you can fucking do. So if someone asks me if I feel sorry for a poor man, no, I don't fucking feel sorry for him.
You can't make a woman what you want her to be, but you have the decision whether you could be with her or not.
I was able to like do 2 million and I lost it all. I went net negative 250,000 after that.
When a tariff happens like this, there's some very, very smart dudes coming from your generation that are going, this is the fucking greatest thing that could have ever happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the PeakFlow podcast. We have Jason over here to my right, Top G Mikey here over. And today we're gonna go and just bring out some sauna talks in person with you guys. These are some of the conversations that we be really trying to have. But just sharing with you guys a little bit of what be going on, what's going on in our heads. But yeah, I just want to start off kind of doing that, asking you some questions, characteristics, traits. Now, Mikey, first of all, Top G, if you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would it be?
I would like to describe myself in 1 word. And I say it's Top G. And Top G, I believe anyone could be a Top G. As long as you have the mindset, discipline, and principle, you know, you could become a Top G. A Top G is not just something someone is. It's what you become over time. You understand? Get your money up, get your principle, and, you know, get your core values together. I believe if any man could be a Top G, as long as they get those together.
Okay, so that's the first one, Top G. 2 more. He said like dad. What you said, dad? You said
family,
all in.
All in.
I love that one. All in was really cool.
Yes, like I was saying, Top G just describe everything. As a man, you should always have your core values, which is money, family, principle.
Money, family, principle. Money, family, Top G.
Money, family, principle.
That's pretty cool.
Those are my 3 words.
That's good.
So how about you, Marcus?
If I could describe myself, I like the all in. I would say risk taker, impact, try to have a positive impact on people, and self-excellence. Always demanding a higher standard for myself and always try to push. Which actually brings me to a question I have. What type of mindset do you guys feel we have today in younger generation society? I feel like the younger society, a lot of the older generation be like, oh, they're softer or they're weak. You know, like, you think the younger generation has softened up?
Well, yes, I do, but not 100% of the generation. You know, I think it's only natural that as the world is evolving, and you know, I think everyone's goal as a parent is you want to give your kids a little bit more than what you had. And as we evolve in life, obviously, you know, my parents had more than their parents had, and my parents tried to give me and my brothers more than what they had. And I'm doing the same with my children, and I'm going to teach my kids to do the same. So I think just as the world evolved, because there was more to give to this, we'll call it younger generation, they were coddled a little bit more. You know, what does that mean? You know, you have more. You know, there wasn't really that urgency to, you know, get out and work or go out and make money, or, you know, life was good staying at home, and mothers were great mothers. So they were giving their little babies everything that they could, but they didn't really, at a certain point, let go and kind of inject these kids into getting a job at an early age. I mean, look, the day of, you know, my friends and I, you know, you guys don't have newspapers really today, but when you were a young kid, you could not wait to get a newspaper out.
Really?
Yeah,
How
because
did
it
you
was
even get
money.
newspapers?
You would take newspapers and you would deliver it to people's homes.
Like mailboxes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that in cartoons.
And you got paid pennies for it, but you couldn't wait to do that. Snow days. We couldn't wait for it to snow. We would take shovels and go around the neighborhood and make $1,000 in a day and split it between 2 or 3 of the guys. You don't see kids doing that, and it's not really their fault. It's just kind of the world that they were thrown into. You were born, mom and dad gave you this iPad to keep you, busy while they relax, and, they had a tough week of work or whatever it was. your entire world was on this. Want to talk to your friends? Let me talk to my friends. Want to play a game? Let me play a game. And you never left the couch. Some never left the couch, and that was their world. You needed food, mommy gave you food. You needed your laundry done, mommy did your laundry for you. Everything was right there, and it was all done. It was not consciously thought of. I'm not 100 years old, but I'm definitely a couple of generations younger than you guys. And every dollar spent growing up in my household was monitored. It was really, and we were a upper middle class household. We owned a home. Dad worked his ass off, but every single penny was overlooked to make sure that they had enough money to pay the mortgage, and there wasn't this excess of money.
So where do you
that
think
there
it
is
went
now.
wrong, or like where do you think the disconnect?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, where I think it went wrong. I just think, evolution took the modern household to a very, very comfortable spot where it was comfortable for the parents to throw an iPad in the kids' hands and give them everything that they wanted. And it was very comfortable for the kids to sit back and enjoy this coddled life. It's not everybody, we're not talking 100%. Definitely not you guys. I could see you guys are go-getters. But from what I see as a business owner, most of the people that almost entirely, everyone that I have hired to do sales, I'm in insurance sales, the younger generation didn't really pass the litmus test for me. It
And
was,
what's that like, that litmus test? Like, what do you look for in a young fella?
I think, what I really look for is grit. Sales, you need to have grit. Commission-based business, I give you an opportunity to grow your own business within my business, and you're getting paid on commissions. There's no coddling there. You either fucking sell or you're not getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
That's it. So what I look for is somebody that I think can withstand ups and downs, someone that wants to be one of the first people in the office and isn't opposed to being one of the last people, someone that's going to be able to handle themselves on a phone and communicate with people and try and sell them an intangible product. And you're not seeing a lot of that in the younger generation, because if you said to somebody maybe your age, not everybody, when I speak about this stuff, I don't want an entire generation hating on me. That's not what I'm talking about. But if I said to you when we sit down, well, how am I going to get paid? Well, you're going to sell. If I don't sell, I don't get paid.
But
no.
like, I think like that's a problem right there, Jason. Like, you worried about other people hating on you. I think that's where most people. I think that's what society is feeling right now, because too much people is worrying about what people would think about them. So they end up just doing what's not good for society. I think kids these days are like, they end up getting entitled because of society and how people thinks. And I have an issue with my nephew right now. It doesn't matter how much I speak to him. I know that it takes a day or two for him to like go back to his normal self. You know why? Because you go to school, he's dealing with the bullshit teachers and the kids around who's on the same level, same mindset of what I don't want him to be around. And his parents is telling him that he don't have to work. Like you just if he's tired, you sleep. I'm like, listen, it doesn't work like that. Not around me, because that's not how you was raised. That's not how I was raised. So I'm not gonna raise my nephew to become a bum, because I could see his future right now, right? If I don't speak to him, if I don't take him on jobs with him to show him, now listen, you're a man. The only person in his life that gets things for free is baby and woman. A man can't get shit for free. So I try to install this into him day after day, because I know if I don't, I know his life. Like, he's gonna be 35, 40-year-old with no woman, living in his parents' basement, jerking off, go to McDonald's for his 9 to 5, and come back and do the same shit every single day.
Yeah. The reason why I framed it, not the entire population of that generation, is because it's really not their fault. The reason why I have a little bit of compassion for it is the world that they were brought into. You really don't have to fucking do anything difficult to feel comfort. You know what I'm saying? They're born with basically
But like
born with
we
an
can't tell
iPad
them
in their
that
head.
though. Like we can't tell them that though.
Well,
And
no,
then
we're not
and
even
then
talking about that. We're discussing the fact that I was compassionate about not everybody in that
yeah.
generation, being entitled and brought up in a coddled environment. That's why I said that. There are some that listen, man. Some people just pop out different and hungry and excellent. And these are the future people, the future Elon Musks and the future, entrepreneurs of the world. They're just different. But the majority of the people of that generation have really just been handed a playbook of comfort. So when you say to somebody, yeah, man, you got to sell or I don't get paid. No, show me what you could do. You could look at this as if I don't sell, I don't get paid, or I'm looking for the guy that says so my paycheck could be limitless. What I could draw my own. That's the guy that I'm looking for. The kid or the prospective employee that says, "Wow, that's fucking great," because there's no cap.
Mm.
You sell if I fucking sell my ass off, I'm here every day and I'm working hard and I'm selling, you're telling me I could crush it? Yeah. If someone came to me in a job interview like that, that's what I'm looking for. So you asked me who I'm looking for, that's who I'm looking for. The person that says, "Wow, that's great, so I can write my own paycheck." Yeah.
And I like your answer as well, because like I'm similar in that type of way. I'm more on the hands-on field. I know you in sales. I'm more on the independent contracting. So like I have workers who do mainly manual stuff with labor, right? So when I go get my workers, I will give them a chance to work with me. Like I like the workers who always on point, always as soon as it's done with next one, on to the next one. Always make sure everything is done the way that I like it, right? If it's not, then I would never work with them again. I don't care what it is. Even like I have some editors as well. Well, I know Mark is probably dealing with the same issue as me. These editors are they're so dumb. Cause I'm gonna tell you why they're dumb, right? We're giving them countless of money, countless of business, and they don't know anything about business. Because they're running, they could make thousands of dollars, right? I'm gonna give an example for my personal experience. Like I have this one editor. He's in where is he? Yeah, somewhere in Bangladesh or whatever. I forgot the country name. But I gave this guy like a few projects, right? He half done the whole project. And I said to him, listen, like half this video is trash. Like, what is this? He was like, oh, what's my first? I'm like, okay, fair. It's your first time working with me. I'm gonna give you a second chance. He redo it. Still, like some of them are trash. I'm like, all right, whatever. The invoice come end of the month, right? Instead of coming to me and be like, hey, boss, look, I understand that half the work that I gave you was not good, so I would deduct a fee for you, and then like you don't have to worry about that no more, so we could continue our business. He come to me and be, oh, bro, like like I want extra for these and that. I'm like, bro, like half the stuff it's not even complete. So like you know what I did? I just paid him in full and just be done with him. And I told him to add an extra $50, just a nice little tip.
You're so nice, Mikey.
And toward the video that wasn't completed, he was like, "Oh, bro, but I'm going to add like he tried to get over. He tried to add like an extra $100 over. I'm like, you know what? Now don't even add the $50. Just send me the regular person and be done with it. Now like he's in my DM just texting me, talking to himself. Because I carry the way that I carry myself is the same way I expect people to carry themselves within my business. When I'm working with a client, I'll make sure they're completely happy. If the work is not done how they want it, I wouldn't even charge them. I'll tell them, listen, or like I would give them a big discount. So I understand your point when you say,
Yeah. I remember once you and I were in the sauna, we were chatting.
yeah,
And I think you were handling one of your workers at a property.
yeah,
And you weren't very happy at the time. And I don't know if I had mentioned this story to you while we were chatting, but you were saying, oh, this instead of this guy going to the store and getting gloves
Yeah,
or
yeah,
bags or
yeah.
something like that. You know, he's gonna wait for me to tell him, and I was just like shaking my head, like, yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
I'm in the sun. I'm giving you a job, paying you good money, and you texting me you don't have. Use your fucking hands and wash your hands
Yeah.
after. And you tell me you need gloves for.
You know, when I was a kid, one of my first construction jobs that I had was working for Eric Daly. This guy Eric Daly, and he did really high end decks of clear cedar plank. Expensive wood at the time, before they had all the fake stuff all the plastic wood now. This was really, really beautiful stuff. And he was one of the first guys around that was nailing or screwing in the boards so that the screws weren't on the top and everybody could see the ugly nails. He was towing them in on the side. So when you saw the deck of this beautiful wood, it was just like, you know, just magnificent work. And he had a very, very good reputation. So I started working with him in the summers as a kid and just doing hump work. Go get the wood, you know, get the shit out of the van, go get me the saw, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was a good boss. But one thing that he gave me a compliment once, and I think this goes back to what you're looking for in your workers. I had no knowledge of building. I was a young kid looking for beer money on weekends, you know? And he would have this stack of, you know, long planks of wood, and he was on the saw, and he would say, Jason, I'm going to cut these, and his worker would take the wood and put it in place. But I was the lackey just handing him the new piece of wood. So he would take it and he would cut it, and you know, he had to do like a couple of cuts sometimes, but he had said, he goes, I think on the first day, he says, you're gonna work out. I said, what's up? He goes, several times today, I was doing something, and before I could turn to you to tell you what to do, you already had it.
Yeah.
Whether it was the wood or a saw or the this or the that. And he says, you're going to work out. And I never forgot that. And I took that as I became older and started to get into businesses.
Yeah.
I looked for that in people. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you've been here how many months? I shouldn't have to fucking tell you
And-
how we've been doing this for so long. And sometimes when you see that as a business owner, you're like,
Yeah, and
they just don't get it.
it's crazy how like we're talking about this right now because like I know like a few guys, right, who rather sit at home broke than going out and trying. I'm gonna tell you a story about this one guy, right? He lost his job. He got like a next job, right? His first week of job, the guy sent him home saying that, oh, like he didn't like the way he worked or whatever, or he didn't follow instructions well, right? I'm like, okay, so what you gonna do about it? I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna wait until I get something else. I'm like, bro, the guy fired you because you're not doing enough, or like you didn't follow instruction well. Go back to the fucking job. Like you're not doing nothing right now. Go back to the job. Tell him, listen, I understand how you feel, but I'm willing to work. Let me just hear me out. Just give me 1 week. I don't even want to pay for this 1 week. I'm gonna show you that your idea of me is just wrong. He said,
good
nah.
idea.
He said, nah. So what if you don't pay me for the 1 week? I'm like, what the fuck you mean? What? You're not doing shit right now. You're just holding up space. You have the wrong mentality. I don't want like. Ever since that day, I never spoke to that guy again. I don't want people that are lazy that's bad mentality. I don't want those in my circle. I only want hardworking winners in my circle. Cause like I see the vision where I'm going. And if I have 1 or 2 person with that mindset, it's gonna fuck me up in the long run. So I don't even want that. It's so easy out here. Like this world is very rewarding. If you want man, if you put in the work, hard work, it's gonna pay off. It's gonna pay off some, even if he might not get that job. Like on his way to the job, he might meet someone new. Rather than him just sitting at home playing game all day, bro, you're just wasting your time. You're not putting yourself out there. But
How crucial is it to have openness to learn when it comes to work ethic? I feel like sometimes when it comes to having that grit, it just comes down to like humility of like, damn, I don't know better and I gotta work and get more of that.
I think that's great. I think everybody should be open to learning. I mean, I look at you guys and I learn because you guys are coming from a generation of technology and social media that I know nothing about. So I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I was going to learn from you guys. You know what I'm saying? I think it's huge. I think if you're closed-minded, you're throwing opportunity out the window.
How many businesses do you currently operate, Jason?
Well, just one. I mean, I own an insurance agency, and I'm an investor. So I'll pick up a real estate deal here or there, and but that's it.
Like I want to know like a little bit more about you, Marcus. Like we know that you're in the e-commerce field, right? Like, what's your biggest difficulty managing your business and that you face in that field? Like, what your I guess clients come to you with their biggest issues?
Yeah. So just like you guys, like I have a business in e-commerce. So that's the online trade of physical products. One of the biggest challenges we face is also keeping good talent, right? Finding someone for sales, finding a high energy, they got that rah in them, they want to go after it. One of the biggest challenges that I face is like keeping them there because they're so driven, they're so motivated that like they start to see how things work, they're starting to see how businesses should be run, and then they want to go start their own or they find better opportunities and more opportunities. So one of the biggest challenges is always that team, kind of like what you said before, having good people around you.
What are you doing about that?
What do you mean?
What are some of your ideas to keep people around?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think culture and culture fit is the most important for us.
They could find that anywhere.
Well, no, not really.
So I think when it comes to holding on to people, especially if it's a competitive, dynamic, marketplace, e-commerce, right? They could probably go anywhere. Who's going to say no to somebody with a decent resume and they could be an asset to their business. The ability for some people to be part of something is huge, whether it's profit sharing or, hey, look, there could be some equity in this. If you prove to us, you're not going to throw equity to some. Listen, if somebody's established and they're coming with, a book of business or they're coming with something that's super valuable, obviously equity position is a way of keeping somebody. Benefits is a way of keeping somebody. Profit sharing, some sort of tenureship. You get to a certain point, and here's what the benefit package looks like. Having them shoot for something that keeps them there long enough that they could really settle in and be like, yeah, this is I want to be part of this. I could get this elsewhere.
I like that. Like, I have two questions for you before we move on. Like, why do you think they should stay with you rather than moving on? That's my first question.
That's a good question. I had a question for his follow-up question, and I just blanked out.
No, like we on you first.
Wait.
Let's finish up with you first, and then
no,
we go
no, he's gonna answer everything.
Okay, let's hear it.
My question is, do you think that person that has that talent that you're looking for is driven by finance? Sometimes what if they're not driven by money?
I think most people want to be part of something, especially if it's winning.
Of course.
They want to be part of a winning team. There are some people like yourself that could just go out on their own and be like, look, I'm going to do this. I could do this. I know that this is what I could do, blah, 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 blah. And then there's some people out there that are like, I know I could do this, but I really don't want to do it alone. And those are the people that if you could find them and you think they're worth, you have to give them that opportunity in the beginning so that you don't lose them. So in the beginning, it could be, look, I'm not opposed to giving the right person a piece of this.
Yeah.
I haven't found that person yet. Is that you? Is that going to be you? I have no problem seeing what you're made of. It looks like you have, great contacts or followers. Or I don't know how you guys really, what the metric is for that. But if you think this is someone that could possibly get a piece of the pie, that will keep them around. And the way they manage themselves during this course of employment with you is going to be different than the guy that's just punching in and punching out, just looking to make a dime. And those guys are necessary as well, and they're out there as well, and we all need them. And we know that their mentality is just, you know what, man, Just want to come and it doesn't make them bad people. I just want to come and do my job. I want to get the fuck out of here with a paycheck and go. And then there's dudes that you could tell, I want to be part of something.
Right.
What's the equity opportunity here? Or, what makes you different than the guy across the street? Oh, well, we have a benefit package, we have health care insurance, we do this, and I'm dying to find somebody that is willing to put the work in, where we could put a plan together for a small, for some equity. And it doesn't need to be small. It could be something that, the longer you stay and the more you show me, when bonus season comes around, we could talk equity. We could put something together on paper with an agreement that they're going to stay, because then they can't leave, right?
That's what Jason does. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Well, no. I have a very, very small workforce, and we're like a family.
That's good.
And I give my guys the ability to have their own business within my business. So everything is set up. It's turnkey. You come in and work. Here's the computer. We have all the insurance products that you need. I have all the relationships in the industry. You don't have to do any of that bullshit. Here's the phone. Here's the computer. And, he's like a brother to me. I got a guy in my office that's going on 11 years. Love the guy like a brother. We're super, super close. He works his ass off. He's very successful. This guy's got his business within my business,
Nice.
and that's what I hope for with every young kid that comes in the office. Like, did you guys meet Aiden from Lifetime? I don't know if you came in before him or
Shout out
after
Aiden
him.
from Lifetime.
Shout out to Aiden. He was a locker room attendant.
Okay, cool.
Tall, skinny kid.
Oh
with,
yeah, we
with,
met
with
him.
the-
Remember he was
Oh,
trying
he knows you guys. You
like-
guys are friends with him.
he was trying to show us the pull up, the muscle up.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool
Yeah.
kid. I want nothing more for this young kid to follow the footsteps of Kevin and grow himself within the organization. You can't go into the insurance business right now and find product that I have. There's avenues for you to go through, like they have like these turnkey, insurance agencies, but it's all bullshit. You're not getting a good shake. You're not getting a good payout. You're not getting good product. It's a very, very difficult industry right now. But you could come to a small place like mine, a small agency. Do we have everything? No, we don't have everything. Could you go to a bigger place? Yeah, you could go to a bigger place that will have everything. Are they going to give you what I'm going to give you? They're not fucking giving you what I'm giving you. That's not happening. And as I grow as an agent, they're going to grow along with me. And as I've navigated myself through this world, look at every insurance guy you guys know. I don't know if you know many of them, but try and make an opportunity to, when you're at these networking events, speak to some of these insurance guys. See how these guys live. If you work your ass off in the beginning of your career as an insurance guy, and I don't give a fuck what insurance you're selling, if you commit yourself and you put the hard work in early, you could build a book of business that gives you 6-figure income. You could golf 2 or 3 times a week. You're going to go out on the boat all weekend long. You're going to be home at 4 or 5 o'clock with your family, spending time with your kids. You could leave the job during the middle of the day if, God forbid, your kid needs you at school, kid's not feeling well, or whatever the hell the reason is, and there's millions of them. There's really no occupation that I've run into that gives you the lifestyle that insurance sales gives people.
Oh.
And try and be conscious of meeting these dudes and women and see what car they pull away in or they pull up in, see where they live, and see what their lifestyle is like. And they will probably tell you, I'm very happy. It gives you that lifestyle that you don't have to be married to your desk all day long. You could go home, you could get to the office at a reasonable time. You could leave the office at a reasonable time, have your family, 6, 7, 8-figure incomes, and you never really have to retire.
Nice.
If you put a proper staff in place, you could get these residual income from the insurance industry that'll take you till you pass it off to your family. So, where were we? Where did
Is that the
where did that
American
even come
dream?
from?
I don't
Is
know.
that the American dream?
It sounds like a good yeah.
Well, we
so
would-
it's like an American dream. Yeah.
Is that the American dream?
I don't know if it's the American dream. It fell into my lap, and it works out pretty good. But you were talking about
We were
talking about how to hold some people in that you think
Yeah,
could
yeah,
be
yeah,
valuable
yeah.
assets to your
Correct.
organization.
Right. And
I think if you can, if you could put something together for them that the package is easy, right? It's not convoluted. So what am I going to do? This is exactly what you're going to do. Here's where you could be in a year. Here's what we're looking for. Here's some of the opportunities. Once you get to a certain point, this is what we give to these guys. And, you know, there's some fantastic products out there for, here's the quick little sales pitch. There's some great insurance products out there that don't have to come from the employer's pocket, can be shared between the employer and the employee or the independent contractor, however you're hiring them, and you're giving them something that you know, maybe the guy across the street isn't offering for cheap.
Mhm.
But you need to, you know, speak to the right insurance guy to get
Speak
those
to Jason
products.
over here.
Yeah,
for
speak to
insurance
Jason.
over
No,
here.
the point that I'm trying to make is that I think the people that if you feel they're worth it, and you want, you know, once you know that they could be an asset to your business, there's things that you know, you could offer to them, and there's also things that you could, you know, hang the proverbial carrot over their head, like, you know, look, listen, this is right now, but here's the carrot, like, this is where you should be shooting, like,
Right.
shoot for this.
Exactly what Jason's saying. To like go back to your question before you asked me, how do I keep like the talent? It's exactly give them a room to grow. You want to give the people in your business and your team an opportunity to grow into their best self. So
You're in a very, your generation, two of the greatest things I've seen of your generation is entrepreneurship. Everybody wants to be a business owner, and it's
right.
amazing. It's really, really good to see. My generation wasn't that way. And they're adventurous. These fucking kids are going on vacations, you know, backpacking in Guatemala, and I'm going to Paris, France. I've never seen these countries in my entire life.
Come to Jamaica with us.
That's right. I know you want me to come. But if nobody wants to really work for the man this day and age. So for you to bring the opportunity, you know, say you take a chunk of your business, right? Let's just say, look, you're 100% owner on your business?
Yeah. With,
All right.
with a partner.
I'm going to carve out 25% of the shares of my business, and I'm going to leave that out on the side for the ability to hire a couple of people that could pick away at that. And I'm going to put something, a scale of where they need to be. It's going to be defined. If you get to this point, you stay here 2 years, you have production of this amount, you have a pipeline of this, blah, 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 blah. You act like a human being, you're presentable to the customers, whatever it may be. This is here waiting for you. I cannot wait to have a partner to grow this with. That's going to be attractive. That's going to be more attractive to your generation or to anybody when the guy across the street is like, okay, here's your little cubicle. Here's what you have to do. This is what you're getting. You know, talk to, you know, Marion over here if you have any issues. That doesn't sound attractive to me.
Right.
They come and they sit with you and you say, look, I've carved away a portion of the equity of my shares of my business. I'm extremely eager to find some partners to grow this business with me. Here's what I'm looking for. This is what I would like for my partners to be at. And in 10 years, I hope that, you know, we're selling this place for, you know, $150 million.
Yeah. Partnerships are definitely very hard. You have to be very selective with who you bring on.
So you don't have, you define what that partnership is.
Absolutely.
You're the man.
Mm-hmm.
These shares that you're giving to people, doesn't give them well, you could or you could not, but you could specifically say in the agreement, all it is equity. You're going to grow with this business, but you get no say. You could say something and we could discuss things and be creative and collaborate, but at the end of the day, I'm the decision maker.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you speak to an attorney about that stuff, so you don't have to feel like you're losing control. What you're doing is just gaining power and impact and all in. All these things that you said you were in the beginning of this conversation, you're going to bring that to these people because that's who you hope to have as your partner.
100%.
Yeah, you want people like you, if that's your vision, you know, and a couple of people that aren't like you, so they could bring a different perspective.
Yeah, you need people with other perspectives, different angles.
Absolutely, you're going to get that in the creative market for sure.
Most importantly, you need the right mindset of people, and I think that's the biggest separation between us and other like business competitors is the community, is the people around it. I think as you grow a business, it's the people that make up for it. You know, you have the systems, you have the processes, but at the end of the day, it's the culture, it's the people that helps drive a business from 0 to 1 mil to 1 to 10 mil, 10 to 100 mil. And going back into impact, going back into being the man, I want to know how the president of the United States, tariffs and all of the policies, how's that affecting your decision making and the impact into your business?
I don't think I have a huge direct impact on the insurance business, right? Tariffs aren't affecting us as if I was, you know, creating widgets and I have a container full of widgets coming over from China and all of a sudden, you know, this stuff is going on with tariffs and they're hugely impacted. But how it definitely impacts all of us because, you know, what you're getting right now with these tariffs is, there's a lot of noise, right? Huge amount of noise, and nobody really knows how to filter that noise out. So the easiest thing to do is just to jump into the noise and start screaming louder rather than really figure out what's going on. The overall consensus right now with people that are spending money is there's uncertainty.
Right.
I'm clamming down on my pocketbook. We're not spending as much as we used to. Dad's job might be impacted. My job might be. So the flow of money right now and decision making and people buying things is at a very, very high point, right? People are really, really thinking about every dime. And we're talking about the average American, you know, mortgage, couple of kids, you know, 2 car payments, insurance has gone through the roof. We don't hear a lot about it, but there's an insurance crisis in the state of New York. Every customer that we speak to, every single day, Jason, this is getting crazy. I fucking can't afford it anymore. Like, my husband and I are seriously thinking about moving out of New York. We can't do this anymore. How can we spend $4,000 a year on homeowner insurance and $12,000 a year on auto insurance, $16,000 a year? This is real life numbers, and this is not. This is a very, very common scenario that we're having with our customers. So tariffs come along, everything is getting more expensive, and it's not just a result of tariffs, but it's just everything is mounting on top, and a lot of regular people, you know, the Joneses and the Smiths that are just going to work every day, getting paid, coming home, paying bills, and every month going, this is fucking crazy. Like, spoon to mouth, right? What we're making is barely paying, and then we're jacking up the credit cards. What the fuck is going on here? So I think you're starting to see tariffs is just the icing on this ugly cake where, you know, I speak specifically about New York because that's predominantly where we do business, and that's where we're from.
You think it's going to get better anytime soon?
It has to.
It has to?
Yeah, no. I think, again, so you have the noise and you have the facts. And I think a lot of this noise is, you know, it's really fucking easy to fucking hate Trump. And those are the loudest people, right? So you're going to hear all this noise. But the smart people, it's not even a political thing. The people that are really diving in and breaking this thing apart, pulling it apart and listening to what the hell is going on, is that these tariffs are being used as a tool. They're being used as a mechanism to force negotiations. The noise of all these other countries is bullshit. All of this, I'm gonna say there's China, and then there's everybody else, and everybody else right now is a non-event. That's going to be handled every day. That's being handled, and that's going to be a non-event. The 800-pound gorilla here is U.S. and China, and that has to be handled soon. You talk about the two largest economies, basically the way the world moves in trade.
It was coming down no matter what.
Yeah, well, it has to happen, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Both of them want to function, and both of them want to get back to business. No one likes this uncomfortable feeling of not knowing where the relationship's going to be, how are our businesses going to move, how is trade going to work. It has to get done. In this situation, I think you want to be in our shoes. You want to be in American shoes rather than in China's shoes.
Why is that?
China's a fucking disaster right now.
Is it?
That place is on the verge of a revolution. Their economy is decimated. The value of their currency is decimated. If you think that Trump doesn't know that, and that's why he's really forcing their hand with these tariffs, this dude's a smart dude. Say what you want to say about him, but this motherfucker knows what he's doing, and it's a very difficult time for China to have any sort of interruption in their economy, and this is a huge interruption. They're both ego guys, right? They're both powerful, successful dudes, and they both do respect one another. There's no question about that, but they also both want to be the best and the biggest and the baddest.
So, what do you think would be the best scenario for everybody?
The best scenario for everybody is free trade.
And then, so why that's not like?
I don't know
why we're not doing that.
Well, there's a bunch of answers for that. I would think because of who's in office right now, we've been on the shit end of the stick when it comes to trade. There's countries that won't allow us to sell cars in their country. But we don't even have to mention countries. There's many countries. We can't sell cars there, but they can sell whatever they want here. We are selling a widget there, and they're charging a 140% tariff, but they're sending their widgets here, and there's no tariff.
Well, why did that system was in place in the first place?
I think what happened is, these deals were set up decades ago, and I'm not an economist, so, maybe somebody could call me out and tell me that I'm completely wrong, but these agreements were set up a long time ago. It was a different world, and I think what America was trying to do was strategically have relationships all around the world to combat communism, and and implement democracy and freedom. And so what better way than to say, look, we know you got sand. We'll take your sand. We won't charge you for it. Bring it over to us. It's going to be worth billions to your economy. And look, we just want to put a missile silo over here so that if there's any issues, we have a military base there. And sounds good? Sounds good. So strategically, we were positioning ourselves all across the globe for whatever reason. It could have been military, it could have been economy, it could have been tourism, it could have been whatever the deal may have been. These agreements have never been changed unless, perfect example is when tensions were getting high with Iran. What did we do? Fucking put massive tariffs on them and shut them down, right? What did we say? Stop promoting terrorism, stop being douchebags, and they didn't. Boom, crushed them. So as a very, very large economy with a lot of power, we have the ability to do that stuff, right or wrong.
Right.
But look, if you're gonna make us the policemen of the world, sometimes we gotta act like that. Yep. So these agreements were probably set up for decades. Maybe a couple of them moved here or there, but there was never a reason to really review them. Every single president in the last 40, 50 years has used tariffs to try and bring in money. I think it came to the point where we've kicked the can down the road for so long that our debt is insane. It's fucking out of control. And I think a lot of Americans are comfortable with that. It doesn't matter. Just keep printing money.
It's like they're not feeling it right now.
Well, we discussed the ramifications if the shit hits the fan, which I don't think is possible. But for some smart people to get together and say, look, at the point that we're at right now, in 5 years, we won't be able to pay back just the interest alone on the debt that we have. Now, you have to know a little bit about finance to kind of grasp this, but to kind of break it down in layman's terms, and we discussed this once before, most of the world comes to invest in America, right? They invest in our treasury bonds and different debt instruments. So the government says, purchase these bonds from us. We're a very stable country. We're a very wealthy country. So if you give us your reserves, $1 billion, 10 billion, 500 billion, whatever it may be, you lend that money to us, we will pay you back that money and interest on top of it. And most of these countries say, shit, this is the safest bet in the world. Let's just give the money into these treasury bonds and we'll grow our money so that we could feed our people and pave our roads and build bridges and whatever else they do. We're at the point right now that our debt is so high that if we continue to go down the road that we're going, we won't be able to pay debt back. If our debt rating as a country is downgraded, so, AM Best, S&P, there's several different debt agencies, people that look at balance sheets and go, well, these guys look great. We'll give them a AAA rating. These guys are pretty good. We'll give them a AA. And then it goes down the road, single A, triple B, double B. And then you get into shit bonds. You get into to crap bonds. These crappy bonds hold a tremendous amount of risk, but they'll give you 15% interest. So if you want to roll the dice on 15%, here you go. We got some crap bonds for you. But if you want stability, like your country's reserves, where are you going? You're fucking coming to the US. You're going to give us billions. We're going to take that money and we're going to subsidize everything in our budget. We're going to pay for everything with other people's money, and then we give them back their interest. They're happy. We're happy. The world is working fine. Our biggest debt holder is China. China's like, where the fuck are we going to put the trillions of dollars we have? They send it over to us. We pay them interest, and they're happy. What's been happening over the last bunch of decades is we've been getting the shit end of the stick, and it's never really been looked at. So even though every president says, how are we going to combat the deficit? Oh, well, we're going to raise some tariffs and we're going to do this and this. And guess what? We're going to fucking raise your taxes too, to the American people. The American people have had it. So when you're in debt, and everybody's in debt, families, financing, right? There's credit cards, there's mortgages, there's personal loans, small businesses, large businesses, there's always debt. How do you manage this debt? There's only 2 ways of managing debt. That's it. You could either spend less money or cut back on expenses. So what does that mean to the American people? Well, when the fuck did you see the last president say, we're going to spend less money? Doesn't happen. You ever heard politicians say, hey, I got an idea, let's spend less? Doesn't happen.
Does that mean like it doesn't work?
No. How are they going to get elected to their constituents if they're taking away the daycare at this age group? How are they going to say to people, we can't fix the bridges and the roads this year, or we're not going to plow your roads because we decided to not spend money.
Yeah.
No, government spend. It only leaves you with one option: take more money in.
Mm.
How do you take money in? Hey, America, I got a great idea. We're going to fucking tax you
Yeah.
even more than we are right now because we love you so much. Doesn't look good at the polling station when you
Sound
go
like
to
New York
vote.
to me.
And we're also fucking paying more taxes than any country in the fucking world.
Mhm.
Right here in New York.
Mhm. Yeah, New
Right?
York. Yeah.
New York, California.
Yep.
We're paying more
Yeah.
taxes than some countries are entirely. Probably take 10 countries and we're still paying more taxes than any of them combined. So that idea of taxing the people is not very good. We're paying enough, man.
Mhm.
So what do? Well, let's rightfully so tell all these people that were sucking on the tit of the US
Mhm.
for 50 years, it's time to
Pay
buck
back.
up.
Yep.
Right?
Sound-
We fucking defend you.
Mhm.
We got your back. You have our economy. Who
Mhm.
doesn't want to sell to us schmucks?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're the only country in the world, if you don't have fucking money, we'll put it on a credit card.
Yeah.
Bring it here.
Bring it here.
Right. Go right
I
on
don't
Amazon.
want it, but here,
So
it's good to me.
anybody who is selling
Mhm.
anybody, the first targeted market they're looking for is America.
Mhm.
Sell it to those fucking fools. Right?
Mhm.
They're fat.
Mhm.
They make money.
Mhm.
They'll put it on credit card. That's where we're going.
Yeah.
So it's time to buck up. This is common sense, dude. Right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about 50 years ago where a lot of these countries were impoverished. We're talking about some very healthy countries that are growing at a very, very rapid pace, and we're getting fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
We are getting fucking destroyed
Yeah.
in debt. It's not going to work anymore. It can't work anymore. And, keeping politics out of it, you're going to hear the other side complaining that it's not, that's not going to work. It has to fucking work. And talk about timing, it has to work quick because you got the two largest economies in the world that are both going to shut down. They're going to risk shutting down over this when they both have deep enough pockets and fat enough heads to say, look, we got to meet in the middle here. But in the interim, all these other countries, they can't survive.
Yeah.
So they're coming to the table and saying, look, let's deal. What do we got? The great deal maker. What do we have? And that's going to happen.
Excuse me.
God bless.
Thanks.
That's happening. And you're going to see it. We're not seeing it every day, but it's happening behind the scenes that the world economy is coming to the table and saying, we might not love the guy, but he's got a fucking point.
Yeah.
We've been sucking on their tit for 50 years. We don't sell we don't let them sell anything
Yeah.
here. And we sell everything
Yeah.
to them, right?
Yeah.
Canada. I think 35% of their GDP is US purchasers. 35%.
Wow.
You know what our output to them
How
is?
much? How much?
1.25%.
Oh my gosh.
If they never bought another fucking pair of Adidas from us, we could give a shit. It's not going to impact us.
But they promised to shut up power off though.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Just like you, right? It'll work out.
Listen, the beautiful thing, something that gets sparked by these tariffs is, Americans, we're smart. And there's a lot of people that aren't afraid to work. And there's a lot of people that aren't afraid to create. And when a tariff happens like this, I'm telling you right now, there's some very, very smart dudes coming from your generation that are going, this is the fucking greatest thing that could have ever happened.
Yeah.
Because now,
It's a problem.
if we're not going to be doing this in China,
Mhm.
we can do it right
You
here.
can do it right here.
And you know what? When they used to do it 50 years ago on a fucking assembly line like this, we got technology.
AI.
We got AI.
Yeah.
That's such a good point because I want to speak from like a business owner perspective. I feel like a lot of people will say, "Oh, if you bring back the jobs to America, the labor cost is going to be substantially higher than maybe you bring back
It's a
to
big
China."
problem. Yeah.
But it's I how I see it is like that's a one-dimensional kind of perspective and a multifaceted angle, meaning, yes, like labor costs might be more, but one thing people don't account for is efficiency, right? So right now,
True.
it
Very true.
at the end of the day, it's all about profit margin for a business owner, right? So what do you account for? You account for the operations, which will factor in labor. You account for efficiency. You account for shipping and logistics. So technically, yeah, if it's not from China, even though I'm Chinese, shipping is going to be so far. Maybe you bring it to Canada, it's closer.
Hey,
Listen, it might be more, but they might be more efficient. At the end of the day, if it costs 10 people at $2 and the output is $20, or it could take 2 people at $10 and its output's still $20, the numbers
listen,
will balance itself
it's a
out.
It's a great point.
Right?
And
Yeah.
I'm stealing this from another podcast, the Pomp podcast. I just listened to it yesterday, and he said, there's no question that the resiliency of Americans and American workers and American creators and American inventors and American techies and nerds, that these tariffs is going to spawn something phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no question about it. That's what Americans
Yeah,
do.
yeah, that's what we do.
And it's all been kind of put on the back burner for a while because
Yeah.
why were we sending things to China and Vietnam? I'm going to tell you why. Because we were not willing to do it. Could we have done it here? Absolutely. But we weren't willing to do it. And he made a point, and I thought this was incredible. He said, if you take Elon Musk and say to Elon, we want to put you in the hat business, you better fucking believe that this guy's going to be creating hats that are $3 less to make than anybody else.
Yeah.
Because he has this and the support and the know-how to find the part of the process that is the most overwhelming of what people don't want to do. Elon will streamline, and that's what that $3 savings is.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to see. And it's probably not going to be Elon, but it's going to be one of you guys. It's going to be a young kid that wakes up and says, this is my fucking opportunity. This is my day. And we could do this. And he's going to get his buddies together. And this will be the next Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. It's so fun and interesting to think about because if at any time, it seems very one-sided, but we live in the age of technology where AI is absolutely going crazy, where like 50-man companies to produce like $10 million a year in revenue turns out to like 15-man companies now. So it's the same process with, I see it as manufacturing as well. Like I'm pretty sure Tesla factory, as they're building out these cars right now in real time, a majority of it is automation anyway. So
I think you're probably right.
So I definitely agree. Mikey, how has the tariffs affected like your business? Like, what do you even do, bro? Like,
Well, I do like a few things. You also know I'm an influencer, but how can you say it? My bread and butter. It's independent contracting. So I would rich client will come to me like people like Jason, right? For a solution that they don't want to do, like for plumbing, electrician, landscaping, any fucking thing, I could fix your problem. Just pay me and I'll fix it. So it hasn't affected me that much. I guess the only thing, going back to what Jason said, it does affect everyone because less money for right now, but it doesn't really affect me that much because it comes to a point when like rich are always gonna have money. So, and people who want to get shit done, they're gonna get it done regardless. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big points I wanted to take away from Jason's point is like, why is it that you see one glass of water, some might see as like half empty, others sees it half full? Because times like these, absolutely right, there's so much fear in the market. A lot of people are feeling uncertain. But at the same time, us as like entrepreneurs, business owners, life has actually been pretty abundant.
Yep.
There's been a lot of opportunity, at least for my industry. E-commerce has been booming and it's still booming.
Cool.
Trillions and trillions of dollars. Everything in the modern world, I like to tell my community is everything's just getting digitalized.
Wait, so like you
Right.
coach e-commerce, right? So like what makes you different from other e-commerce gurus?
What makes us different is the community behind it. I feel that we're not living in an information age anymore. We live in a misinformation age. Right now, it's more important than ever to find the right information, more or less to find information. Right? Back then, I think it was hard to get access to maybe books, knowledge, information. Now there's so many. Everyone's a guru. Everyone want to help you do something. You have to find the right community. And that's what actually makes us different. That's what sets us apart. That's what sets any company apart, is the community and the culture and the mindset behind it.
You were selling Italian product, right? I think you had mentioned to me that one of your products was Italian stoves, high-end stoves.
We don't have to tell the whole world my winning line, but absolutely. Okay, no, it's fine. My manufacturers, my suppliers, my line of work, they come from Italy. They manufacture in Italy. I think Trump right now is actually having a deal made with Italy right now as we're speaking. So that's interesting.
That's good for you, bro.
Probably over like pizza and pasta.
Like, how convenient. Shout out to Mike, pizza and pasta.
Shout out to Mike, pizza and pasta, Lifetime. Shout out to Mike.
Mikey City Seller?
Yes.
Or Mikey Pizza or Mikey City Seller?
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them. Let's go with both of them.
Both of them. Yeah. But yeah, I think that the people is what makes up everything. And just like you, I'm very selective with, who I like to bring on. And having that really helps a lot, because when you're in the business day-to-day grind, you're going to feel setbacks. It's like even going to the gym, right? Some days you wake up, it's like 5, 6 a.m. You're feeling really cozy in bed. Just skip one day.
You don't feel like that.
Whoever hear that voice.
You don't feel like that.
I don't feel like that at all.
I know you don't, because he's
that.
there every single day from Monday to Sunday.
I can't help myself.
From Monday to Sunday.
I could tell.
Yeah.
And it shows.
My weakness as an entrepreneur is like I need to hold down. Like I need to turn down sometimes.
Why?
Well, that's the thing. That's exactly how I feel. Why?
Can you explain your business to me a little bit more?
Yes, I have a e-commerce business. So e-commerce is online, physical products. So I started off doing reselling. I was in the shoe market. I was like reselling shoes and stuff. It's in that hype game.
Is that stage one?
That was stage one of my journey.
That's where you cut your teeth.
I was in college and I had everything set up well. I come from an Asian immigrant background family. My grandparents worked in sweatshops here in Chinatown to give my mom and dad, like my mom, the ability to get some education. She went to like Baruch so that they were able to give me another.
Did a nice job with you. You're a good kid.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I always grew up believing in the system, believing in education, trying to go to Harvard, Princeton. I went to a really good public college as well, got my degree. But somewhere in the middle of my journey in college, I remember going on Google and I searched up, how much does 100K take home after taxes? And I remember seeing the number to be like 5,000-6,000 a month. And then I guess I'm Asian or something, but I was able to break down some basic math. Hold on, wait a minute. My rent here in Binghamton, which is like freaking like in the middle of nowhere, is already at like 1,100. Hold on. In New York, that's just gonna be like $3,000. That's half my paycheck. Right? I gotta live, eat, buy more shoes. Like I'm trying to get a Lamborghini, so the math not mathing.
It does not math.
It does not math. It does not math. I'm sorry.
Plus
So
you don't give up all your time. Like you don't work from 9 to 5.
I plan ahead. It didn't make sense for me at the moment. I believed in it, but I started drifting away to like the sneaker culture, the hustle culture. It's like, oh wow, like these guys are camping outside right now at like 3 a.m. But damn, you just made like $3,000. And go do that, some of that. And then I was able to pick up and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed how if I work hard, I reap the rewards of what I get. That's reselling. So that was stage one, finding shoes. And then from then on, I just got so addicted to that adrenaline. I started finding anyday products to sell. Anything I could find, just try flipping on eBay, make some loose change, some money. And then that's how I discovered dropshipping. Dropshipping is when you would go to like Alibaba, AliExpress, all of like those China websites, and you try to sell those products. So I did that as well, and I was able to like do 2 million. I hit 2 million in rev for that.
That's impressive.
And I lost it all. I went net negative 250,000 after that.
How did that happen?
Because I didn't understand how to build a real business. You know, at the moment I was so caught up on, I'm just gonna make the flip. All right, so make the money.
So
But-
what actually happened? Though?
Exactly. At $2 million in revenue, how many orders is that? It was like tens of thousands of orders.
That's impressive.
Of volume of customers, which times 10 of that on emails, live chats. Just so much angry customers I had to deal with.
Really?
That's what caused everything to crumble apart because I didn't have the right back end, the right
You need
systems,
the back. Yeah.
the operations. I didn't know how to run the business.
Okay.
So I had a choice back then. I remember it was January, super cold, just got COVID. And then I had to make a choice. Like, should I fold, right? The problem is, it's not that it didn't work though. It technically worked, but me as an entrepreneur couldn't take profit and actually build it to the way I want to. But in theory, like I ran advertisement on Google to the product and it sold. I made 2 mil on it, but it was the wrong product. The product was a terrible product. It should not have been sold, right? I'll tell you what the product was. It was an air conditioner. I sold an air conditioner, a little mini air conditioner, but it was really a fan. It was a $5 cheap ass fan.
So
from China.
people approached
Sold
it.
for like
It
6
wasn't what how it was advertised.
It looked like the way it should.
And they
That's
got
a winning product,
They
bro.
wanted.
It was a winning product.
They wanted refunds and
They
all
were
that.
just not happy with it, and that's actually a
So
very
you know that you
common-
could do this though.
Exactly. I knew I could do it, and that's actually very common with like Walmart and all these big brands. They have a lot of sunk costs, right?
I
Like,
was
people
going to
will buy
say, I
stuff
think
and
if you
that happens all the time.
if you speak, and we've heard some of these interviews. If you look and listen to the richest men and women in the world, they will all tell you it's a series of failures.
Yeah.
Every single one
Yeah.
of them. They'll be able to tell you their first failure up to their last failure and 15 of them in between.
It kind of
Such
gets
a good
exhilarating.
thing.
It kind of gets
It's
exhilarating.
kind of like a rite of passage.
But like I have a question for both of you. Like first, I want you to answer. Like, how do you handle angry customers? Like angry customer clients. Like,
Oh man, I'd be the last to tell you I'm not the best at handling angry customers. I'm certainly not the best, but I'm not the worst. I've gotten better with holding my emotion in. Sometimes, man, you have to step into the customer perspective and look.
Always.
Do they have
Yeah.
a right to be angry though? Because sometimes you know what you have to see whose fault it is.
maybe Jason could teach us something, or definitely Marcus, because he needs.
Well, you know, the old school saying was the customer is always right.
Mm-hmm.
And whether they're right or wrong,
They're always right.
you always have to go
Accommodate.
with that. It makes them feel good. Look,
Yeah.
they want to feel. I'm tipping my hand out to all of my angry customers here. They just want to just know that you care. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like if you give them an attitude, they'll take their business elsewhere like this. They'll walk down to State Farm. They'll go to Allstate. They want to be made right. They want to be made whole. If there was a problem, look, we're gonna handle this. I hear you. We apologize. And we move forward from there.
Like I like that answer, because now that you're saying that, like I'm thinking now, like why my business is thriving so well, this independent contracting business, because it's my reputation.
I mean, in your business,
Yeah.
they have always got to be right.
But yeah, I know.
If they don't like the color, do
Yeah.
it again. If they don't like it again, do it again, and then expect them to tell people how great you are.
Yeah, like even just recently, like I was working on customer place. They wanted like 4 or 5 jobs done in one. Like, and that's usually like a 2-day job, like a day. So work from like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's like 7 p.m. customer blowing the phone up. Why is it not finished yet? Blah. I just realized like she was a woman. I just realized they just need to just hear someone to speak to them every now and then. I picked up the phone and I called him. I'm like, listen, the job that you gave me, I want you to understand this. You gave me 4 different tasks. At least one of the tasks takes at least 4 or 5 hours. I'm doing you a favor by doing all of it for you. I haven't even taken a break yet. We've been working here from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. None of my workers took a break yet. We're doing our best. Understand? If you're still not happy, I will give you a discount. I would take $150 off just because we're like to make
Save
you
face, yeah.
Yeah, just it's just, oh yeah, okay, I understand. I'm sorry. You guys can finish up. They just need to hear someone to just speak to them.
Do you put your sign out on the front to let neighbors know when you're doing a job in the area?
No.
You should.
Why? Why should I do that?
Well, you're going to be at someone's home doing some work.
Mhm.
Hopefully, you're as good as you say you
Yeah.
are, and things look great.
Mhm.
The neighbors, a lot of people don't know where to go, and they don't want to. They don't know where to go, but they will definitely if if they need work done
Mhm.
and they see that, you know, John and Janice next door,
Yeah.
you guys are there working. When you guys leave, they'll probably, hey, what are these guys doing for you? How are they? Do you recommend them? You
And
know,
that's
I would definitely ask them, listen, while we're here, you mind if we put a little lawn
yeah.
sign here?
Yeah. And you see that mindset you have right now. That's why it's very important to have
It's a good mindset.
good people around you with the same mindset we have,
Yeah.
because I haven't thought about that. Maybe because like I'm doing fine with what I'm doing right now, so I'm not really like looking for.
Probably.
But I should never leave money off the table. You're absolutely right. So maybe I'll start doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get some lawn signs made and just ask them first. You mind if we put this on there while we're here? Just these, the little, the
Yeah.
metal things
Yeah.
that go in the lawn or something.
Well, me and Marcus is cooking up something.
Yeah.
It's stage 3. What we gonna
We cooking up into the customer service. I
Yeah.
had so many orders. Like I wanted to follow up and do that, but there was just so many emails, just constant. So it completely
This is
shattered me.
e-com. We're going back
This
to
was going back
e-commerce.
to e-com. This was like, it was like, should I still keep going with it? Or should I just save up again, like, plan out salary and, work? I said, fuck that. I said, I'd rather die trying
There you go.
than ever have my name with the word give up. It's
Yeah.
not happening. Not how I was raised. It just wouldn't, I would not accept that reality. And then when you kind of just have those agreements with yourself, number one, you get to find out who you are. And number two, you just get to work, man. You know what you're supposed to do. You have to grind. So what I just did, I had to pivot. So like instead of selling like a cheap China product, even though I'm Chinese, I was like, wait a minute, like I speak English. Why am I having so hard of a time talking to this manufacturer over here? Let me just go and find some US suppliers. And that's exactly what I did. I went on YouTube and I searched how to dropship US suppliers. I found these kids from like Staten Island that are on the same age as me, and they were doing high ticket dropshipping. And they didn't have that many views, less than 1,000 views. And I learned under them. And I took their art of the high ticket products, because I just applied the same thing that I knew already,
Cool.
and kind of started manifesting
Right.
into like this new business model.
So instead of thousands and thousands of customers to deal with, now you're dealing with.
I have high quality, high paying clients, and I take care of each one by one now.
Nice.
And I have
Great.
the right systems. And then so I was able to build that. And then now, because e-commerce is trillions of dollars, I realized that my market, I sell in luxury homes, but there's market in saunas, right? You could sell saunas to a gym. You could sell massage chair to a corporate office, golf simulators to people that love golf. There's so much different market because this is like a whole new industry. And that's what, like going back to what I was saying, it's so interesting because during these times, lots of things is changing. This is like the changing world order right now. Everything,
Yes.
global influence is changing. And the ones that will adapt, the early innovators, we're the ones that see the opportunity. It's like, holy crap. And then it's the ones that I guess get left behind. And so I have a follow-up question I want to ask you. Do you feel bad for poor people?
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think you have to.
What makes someone poor?
Uh,
Is it determined by finance or is it determined by mindset?
I just think people are spit out differently, and some people are driven, others aren't, and just can't get out of their own way for whatever reason it is. You have to. I do. You have to be compassionate. You have to feel sorry for them. It doesn't give them a free pass. I mean,
So-
they're living in hell.
Let's say you're doing like a piano competition and the prize is like $10,000 and there's first and eighth place. Do you think like fourth place should get some of the money then?
No. I'm all in, man.
Well, in this world, there's winners and losers.
I just
And-
listen. It's just a matter of compassion, whether they listen. When you're talking poor, you're talking like poor people in homes, or you're talking like poor people on
I'm
the street.
talking about. I believe that everyone's finance, health, even their relationship, is an act of personal responsibility, and I think there's a line you have to draw between that compromising and personal responsibility. I think if you're not where you want to be, I think if you want to label yourself financially poor, it's your fault. You should learn and educate yourself. You can't say that there's no opportunities. You go on the internet, you could search up Elon Musk interview. Jeff Bezos interview. You have all of the greatest minds in the world, the greatest intellects, in a push of a button. I was like out sleepless for nights with anxiety because I didn't know how to pay my bills and next payroll. And it's not that I don't have compassion, but at a certain point, my question is like, where is that line?
You know,
Where do you draw that line, right?
It's you know that the answer to that isn't easy. That's like asking, you know, you're always going to have that question. You know, is it better to buy or finance, right? Should I lease or should I buy? No one's actually right. No one's actually wrong. It's just, I think there's just people that get it and are driven, and there's just people that aren't. Right or wrong, can't hate them for it. You know, we're all different. You know, we're all different, and there is definitely something to be said about where you're starting. We're not all starting in the same place. And this is just common sense. We're not all starting in the same place. You know, if if your family, like we brought up Plymouth Rock in the sauna the other day, you know, if your ancestors, you know, ran into Plymouth Rock, you know, a couple of 100 years ago, and you're some white Anglo-Saxon Protestant that is an original member of this country, and you know your grandpa's grandpa had a wood mill, and now your family owns 3/4 of Queens. You know, we're not all starting. It's not a free pass, and I'm all for everybody having to go out and get what's theirs, but we do start at a different starting line. And I don't think we could argue that. It's not an excuse, because you know you could pull out a bunch of examples of people that didn't start at the same starting line that became president of this country, and you know, have some, you know, multi-billion-dollar companies these days. They just have it. They are driven.
It's got it in them, right?
Yeah, but there's many factors to it, you know, and some people, it's very, you know, when times are really tough, it's really hard to dig yourself out of that, and some people just never get the opportunity, and it's a bad rut that they get in. They're different than us three. I mean that. I'm giving you guys compliments. I'm giving you guys compliments. You know, it's a downward spiral that happens fast. Well, how does that go? What's the progression there? Well, you can't find work. You go on unemployment. You figure out somehow to go on permanent disability. Now you're sitting inside of your apartment all day. Woe is me. Depression sets in. I'm getting fat. Well, why don't you go to the gym? I don't have money to go to the gym. Listen,
it's also like a few things that like contribute towards that.
It's a bunch of things that
even the government, for you to get even free stuff, you have to make a certain income. They want to keep people where they at. You understand?
Some instances,
Section 8, the food stamp. The reason why they give all that out so freely is to keep people in that position.
Yeah,
you know. And then, like going off Marcus' question when he was talking about do you feel sorry for poor people? First of all, for women, I think this is just my personal view. I think women should get everything for free. I think women should just be taken care of. A man, I don't give, as long as he's not disabled, I don't give a fuck. If you're a fucking man, you should not be fucking poor. There's so much shit you could fucking do. You're strong. If you're not disabled, there's so much shit you could fucking do. You can go around knocking people door. Listen, that guy cut your lawn for like how much? $50, $100? I'll do that shit for $25.
Oh,
if you go to enough lawn, you will like keep raising yourself up. I tell Marcus this all the time. Kids in Jamaica, they have the ambitions. All right. First of all, before I even speak about that, we have three types of people: poor people, middle class, and rich, the higher class, right? And I always give Marcus compliments because I think Marcus coming from the middle class. So the middle class have it the hardest because they have no, they're just in the middle. Like everything is okay. Like they're in that comfort zone. The rich have networks, so they know what to do. Okay, this, that, cool. I can make money because buy this stocks. Cool. The poor people, they okay. I don't want to be poor no more. The poor people have the drive, the ambition to like, all right, fuck this. I need that Lamborghini, or like I need that hot girl. So I'm gonna work hard and I'm gonna go get my money and I'm gonna get that lifestyle that these fuckers have. That's why I think no man should be fucking poor. There's so much shit you can fucking do. There's so much shit you can do. So if someone asks me if I feel sorry for a poor man, no, I don't fucking feel sorry for him because I see kids who's willing to work their ass off. I see,
You know, I have the same mindset as you as far as everybody should be able to go out and work and at least bring home minimum to feed a family or feed yourself, clothe yourself. The compassionate side of me is mental illness is real. It starts off as laziness, but it could morph into something that's a lot worse. And what we don't know is we don't know what's going on in that guy's life or what's going on in that guy's head. It's I'm not saying it's an excuse. It's just a reality. Some people can't get the fuck out of their own way, man. It's like,
and then
it drives me crazy, but we don't know what's going on in that person.
That's a tough reality. But as a man, you like you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be in that position in the first place because in order for you to be in that position, you was chasing comfort, and no man should chase comfort. Man, you have to hard work. Your whole life is hard work. The minute like you start chasing happiness, is like you're gonna fail. All men should know this. Like if you are home right now, if you're a man, do not be lazy. Do not try and chase comfort. Do not try to chase the fast life. Discipline and hard work will take you far, far away. Because if you end up chasing those, you're gonna be just like how Jason explained. Mental health, saying that you got depression and all this bullshit. Even depression, I think it's a fucking scam.
Mikey, do you believe in depression?
No, I don't fucking believe in depression. Like for man, a man shouldn't have fucking depression. You shouldn't. There's so much. If you ask me, how do I met Marcus? Like, how did I met you?
At the gym.
I met him at the gym, right? Go to fucking gym. The gym could save your life. Meet new people. It's the same way I met you, Jason. Now, like you telling me to put signs up. Like now,
it makes sense though. It does make sense.
I could make more money than listen to this guy.
It's not bad.
Because he have them. But the only way I'm able to meet new people is because I get out of my comfort zone. Like the first thing I said in this podcast, like this world reward action. Like this world reward hard work. You cannot just be a man and expect things to be given to you. It's not gonna work. Like you're a man. You should not be wanting something to give to you.
Yeah, you know, you definitely, you hit on something earlier. You were talking about how, it's easy, for instance, in our society here in America, it's very easy to tap out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If things aren't going right,
Yes.
you run on tough times, whatever happens, and you can fall back on the government and exist.
Yeah.
You're not going to flourish, but you're not going to be out in the cold.
Yeah.
You're going to have food. And we'll take care of you.
Yes.
I think the resiliency of other countries, specifically third world countries, is that they don't have that crutch, right?
They don't.
It's Darwinism, right?
Survival of the fittest.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you see that with the Hispanic community here. What you see when people come over from Guatemala, Colombia, Ecuador, Salvador, these people want to work.
Yeah.
They see it because they were stuck in a country that didn't have a crutch. You didn't work, you didn't eat. You didn't work, you didn't have a roof over your head. So imagine when people from other countries come here and they go, is this like an open, yes. They're here for the American dream.
Yeah.
Americans, if they failed, their dream is distorted. So this is the American dream, and they could tap out knowing they're not going to be on the street. They don't have to prostitute themselves on the street in other countries. They don't have to do all these ugly things just to be able to eat or give their kid food or get the kid an education. So just going back to you saying it's very easy for them to accept failures
Yeah.
because it is. And that's humane. And that's what makes this a wonderful country. But it does also hold us back where there are probably some people that if they were elsewhere and they didn't have that ability to just tap out
Yeah.
and be taken care of, what would they be? But this is life. We're all different. And
Yeah.
and there's young guys like you that are going for it. Right now in one of these apartments here, there's a young kid fucking shooting heroin in his arm
Yeah.
and just thinking in his mind, this is my life. There's no future.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be nothing.
That's why, like, I think all of us here, especially me and Marcus, have a big role to play. Just do our part. Sometimes when I post online, like I have few guys who just hit me up, just asking me advice, and I'm like, if these guys are doing this and and my content is just not even out there like how it's supposed to be yet, right? There's a lot of guys more like them, but if they could do it, if they could reach out to help, other guys could too. Because this is what I think, like most therapists are bullshit, right? Because they don't truly understand like men or people like how they say they do, right? Like for Marcus, I will like I'm 100% sure that I could help him with any single problem he come to me with, any single problem he come to me with, because like I've gained that experience living through life. Because I'm not sure if I told you this before, Jason, but I was raised in Kingston, Jamaica.
Cool.
When I tell you, I want you to come down there. Probably not this time, but
The next trip.
we're gonna plan one more. When I tell you, these kids down there, so full of character. When you go around, you won't see any kid mention anything of all socially awkward or depression. They're so full of character.
Yeah,
But the only thing,
they're yearning
yes,
to do something,
they're-
but they're in a place that the opportunity
exactly.
isn't there.
The only thing that they're lacking is opportunity.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's why everyone wants to be here. For good or for better or for worse, that's why everybody wants to be here because we give you that
Yeah.
ability to do that. If you have character and you have a dream and you could do it here. We
What do you
lose
think
sight
a
of
young
that.
man's dream is? What do you think a young man's dream is?
A young
Or,
man.
like, what was your
it's
dream
It's
when
a
you
long
were-
time since I've been a young man.
What are those dreams like?
Young man or old man?
wait. Let's start off with you. Tell us about your dream as a young man.
He still is a young man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us your dream.
Well, my dreams started off just wanting money. At first, it was just finance. I want to have a nice car, good lifestyle, cool shoes. Then you kind of hit different levels of income. Maybe hit 5K a month take home, 10K a month, 20K, 30K. And then it's like, okay, wait a minute. Like, how much more is enough? You hit that level of like, how much more is enough? Or like, what am I doing this for? So my dreams now, I just want to make a good impact.
Nice.
I want to be a good, positive impact to society because for me, I think that ideas and perspectives can change the world. I didn't get the luxury to hear a lot of the stuff that I be preaching these days, like, have good mindset, good people around you, good team, healthy bodies, a healthy mind. I didn't really hear that stuff. I kind of seeked it out on my own as I was trial and erroring. But had I had just a better blueprint of maybe what to expect after college or what's in the real world, just these are the truths of reality, right? Like, this is politics. This is what's going on. These are problems we're facing. This is the true mental mindset of society. And here's the cards. Now play with it, and I want to be able to show someone that might not have had that opportunity to see it. I think because once you just see it, you can't unsee, right? Like, at a certain point, like for us, like, never go broke. How could we go broke? Right? We have the mindset. We know people. I mean, if I have 2 arms, 2 legs, I'm working. I refuse to be on the street. And I think that's what it comes down to, right? It comes down to your standards for yourself. It comes down to like, what do you expect? Do you want to be catered towards, or do you want to take care of others? Right? You want others to take care of you. You want to take care of others. And as a man, you have to be able to take care of others. I think that's what a blueprint of a good high value man should be. And that's the impact, and that's my dreams. I want to share my views and share my perspective, right or wrong. This is how I think, and do what I can make this world a better place.
Nice.
How about you?
What's my dream? Well, first I started. I wanted to be a soccer player when I was younger. I was in Jamaica. I was raising up. I don't know fucking better. I just wanted to just be. I know soccer player, you get fucking money,
Yeah.
and plus I enjoy doing something that I love. Now that I'm a little bit older, I think now like I have a duty to this world. So now that like I'm finding myself, like I'm speaking more online, speak about certain topics and things. My goal right now is to help guys who actually need help. Whether you're socially awkward, whether you need help in relationship, because I think the world needs that. Help build men, because I think it's not much men out here. After that, after I become more rich, after I get more experience, after I get more money, I want to build opportunities for kids in starting off in Jamaica. Like I actually want to build like a foundation for something. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna build or do for them yet, but I know I want to do something really big to give them a chance. I might start off there in Kingston, Jamaica, and then I'll expand based on how we grow. So right now, yeah, that's my dream
I love
to help men and to build.
Fun
kids.
fact, he probably doesn't even notice, but when I first met him and we were talking and sharing kind of like our dreams, it wasn't as clear as now, but he always mentioned something like that. He always wanted to give back
Yeah.
and give
It's a
opportunities
wonderful, it's
to
a
people
wonderful
from
thing
his
to have
home.
inside of you.
Yeah.
That's what stood out like to me in his character. That's what made me kept like, oh, like he's pretty cool. I could work with that. I could work out with him.
I'm also speaking on the woman now. So just because like I didn't mention anything about helping you guys, just know that I believe you guys should get everything for free. That's why like I'm building men up so they could give you everything for free for all my lady audience. Because I do have a funny story how like
The funny story.
Marcus, like you want to tell the story?
The funny story is Top G Mikey started trying to do business to improve the masculine mindset,
I
which we
remember.
still are, which we
I
still
remember. Yeah,
are,
yeah.
which we still
Yeah.
are.
I think that's important.
But the kicker is that we actually saw more market reactions
From the woman.
from women.
Yeah.
In fact, women were actually even more interested in dating and
Yeah.
the mindset of the dynamics of all of this.
And yeah, like my first few clients were women. Like they pay me in full. Like pay me in full. So
Now, what are you doing for that money?
well, I'm very professional.
professionals.
I'm
We're
very
professionals.
professional.
We're
You understand? So
professionals.
like I keep it professional. I'm just there to help, and it actually makes sense though, because who spend the less in relationship?
Woman.
Women spend the less. So a woman should want to get in a relationship, and who spend more? A man. So like more on like that's why like I'm trying to transition into like
isn't that a wonderful thing? Like I don't know. Look, I'm not missing many meals.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I find it exhilarating to treat a woman great.
yeah.
You know, I'm an old school traditional guy. Open the car door for a lady, right?
Yeah.
Shut it for her. You take a jacket off of
Yeah.
her and you pull a seat out at the restaurant. They should be treated like that. At the end of the day, like you go out with your woman, she doesn't want to have to tell the world that this is my man.
Yeah.
Right? She doesn't want to carry a billboard.
Yeah.
By you doing those simple little steps is showing the onlookers, this is my man. What a cute couple.
Mhm.
Look at what that guy's doing for his girl. That's a very lucky girl, right? That's an old school traditional thing that should never ever die, whatever your roles are. And this could go for hetero, homosexual, same sex, whatever the hell it is. However you define those roles, I think
But it's
when
dying.
you're out, people want to know, hey, I'm important enough that this guy or this girl is showing everybody
like
that
you're
I'm his lady. You know what I'm saying?
like you're absolutely right, but it's dying, and I'm gonna tell you why it's dying. It's dying because men are putting women in masculine roles. Like they're putting women in position where they have to be more masculine. So when a woman become more masculine, what's gonna end up happening? She's gonna end up going tick for tack with him, and then
That's a real thing.
the role is gonna reverse.
That's a real thing.
So then Jason, Jason, the dating expert, like, how do you solve this issue?
It's a very, very real thing that I've been a part of. Women today are very, very smart. I
Mhm.
mean, these girls, look, you can't overlook the fact that it's been a man's world for a very, very long time. They broke the ceiling,
Mhm.
and education and power, and they've become enriched.
Mhm.
It does play a part in the modern family right now, and I think it's a huge thing that uh, when you are, we're going to say a man and a woman, because if it's woman and woman, it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. But for a man and a woman to enter a relationship, if no matter if the woman is powerful
Yeah.
or not, there should be some sort of um, conversation of, well, where are the roles
Mhm.
here? You know, if I'm a traditional dude and I'm trying to pull your seat out, or I'm going to take your jacket off your shoulder, and I got it. What do you think? I can't handle this?
Yeah.
That relationship is not going to work, right? So I think that has to be a discussion that has to take place, because women are different now. Years ago, that role was given to them. They didn't have a choice, right? 60 years ago, 70 years ago, 50 years ago, the role was, the man is going to go out and work. And if it had to be 2 or 3 jobs, that guy was going out and he was working and he was going to provide for his family. You were having a family. No one was getting married 70 years ago and not having kids. Very, very unlikely. 60 years ago, very, very unlikely. Women were just thrown into their role, whether they liked it or not. Society just said, and it was taking place at the church or wherever. Well, you're taking care of you. How many kids you're gonna have, and you'll be taking care of them. That was just given to them. They didn't ask for that, and there were some women that didn't want that role, right?
Society was better back then.
It was different, better, worse, whatever it was. But
Do you
those were
think it was
roles
better or
were
worse?
Yeah, let's hear it from
better
Jason.
or worse. I think there's 2 sides to that coin.
Which side do you coin on?
I'm a traditional guy, but I do love that women have been given the opportunity to spread their wings and be able to go out and work and get paid. And education is relatively new, right? And getting C-suite jobs is relatively new.
So when you say like you're a traditional guy, like what do you mean? Like, explain.
Yeah, look, you're a product of what you were brought up in. I was brought up in a very traditional Italian family. That does not mean that my mom didn't have say. That fucking woman had say. But my dad went out and busted his ass. My mom brought me and my 2 brothers up until we were out of, say, elementary school, right? So once my mom was there through elementary school.
Jason. I mean, like, what do you mean when you say you're a traditional guy? Like, what do you do to make you a traditional guy?
What do I do? Well, I guess that would go back to where my role is. Supporting a family and being the man of the house.
So you think the woman can support a family?
No, I think a woman. I think
some misogynist in me, Marcus.
I see what you're doing. You're baiting me. No, I have nothing but respect. I have 2 daughters.
Okay.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for women in all places, workplace, the home, whatever it may be.
So should a woman prioritize their career more, or should they prioritize starting a family
That's up to them. Are you asking me what I would want?
Yeah. Well, how are you having for your daughters?
I would want. I'm not escaping the question. I think that whatever they want,
of course,
is what I want. You know
what
I'm saying?
Preference?
My preference would be the path of least resistance. If someone's doing something that they really don't want to be doing, okay. So if you have a wife that's doesn't really want to be a housewife and take care of the kids, and her dream is to just, I want to be an engineer and I want to have dreams also, I would love for her to have that. because if she's happy, you're going to be happy, or there's a better chance of you being happy. So without evading the question, whatever she wants,
Yeah.
you know, and I would support. I would encourage it, you know, and help and support and do whatever needs to be done. Does it always work? No, it doesn't always work, and I'm living proof of that. But we're in a day and age where they're going to do what they want to do now, and that's cool by me.
If and when my daughter becomes 21, I'm gonna tell her to find a good man.
That's a
put that in
beautiful
her
thing.
top priority list.
Can I be the example, the model? Oh my gosh, he laughed, Jason. Wow.
Mikey, are you a traditional man?
Of course, I believe
He's a classic guy.
I'm a classic guy. Like I believe, like I said, man should always be the breadwinner. I will support my woman.
What if the woman or your spouse turned out to be the breadwinner?
That's fine. Then her money's my money. Like, I'll just use her money to make sure I start making more money than her.
Okay,
so,
all right.
but
You wouldn't be offended or
offended for what? Like
I'm just asking.
No, I'm telling you, like if my woman is making more money than me, that's totally fine.
That's
That's
brilliant.
great
It's
stuff,
amazing.
right?
That's amazing.
because I'm going to use her money to make me more money, so I can make more money than her in the longer run.
Awesome.
Because the end goal is always going to be me taking care of you. Like, and when I say me taking care of you, not just I have fully control over you. No, I want to be like, it's a system set up. When I'm making money, you get a percentage of every money that I'm making.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about anything. Like, I don't want my girl to think about anything but to be nurturing to me and my kids. That's all I need from her. To her to be nurturing, respectful, and submissive. That's all I need her to. I don't need her to be she could be masculine when I'm not around. If I'm around, I just want her to be as soft as possible.
Feminine.
That's feminine. That's all I need. I already have you guys right here already, masculine creatures. I don't need any more toughness when I go home.
Like, I think that's a beautiful character. When
Yeah.
a woman is feminine, is a complete turn on.
But most women don't get that. Like, most women don't know, like, if they use their feminine trait, they could get anything. But a man will want to give you everything you want.
Well, look, man, we are very different creatures, men and women.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
are.
and it's insane because the dynamic is, what you want them to be, they're not always going to be, right? Sometimes they will.
What do you mean?
Well, sometimes they're not going to always be what you want them to be.
Jason, what do you mean?
Well, you always want them to be feminine. What if you came home and, you know, your wife's nails weren't done? She's in the same outfit that she was when you left her at 7 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's life. She's not always going to have her hair done, nails done, dressed up. I mean, this is life. This is just, it's not always going to be the way you want it to do.
Find you a new one. Like, my girl going to be feminine. Like, she's going to do what I ask her to do. Because I'm going to tell her how I want stuff to be done. And if it's not how it's done, then I'm not going to be with her. And I think she understands that.
You hit it right on the head. You can't make a woman what you want her to be.
Yeah.
But you have the decision whether you can be with her or not. And that's important.
Because if most men have that woman that they have issues with, she's not going to do that. She's going to do what she has to do to stay with him. Especially a high value man. Like, no one not going to give up a high value man these days because it's very few. But most men are too scared to leave. They're too scared.
Yeah, well, it's look, I've been on both sides of that, you know. And sometimes it's scary, and sometimes you get you're very comfortable with someone. You know, I've been in relationships that are half your guy's lifetime. It is scary. Not that you can't handle it, but you know that on the other side, you're gonna see some dark. You're gonna go into some dark places.
That's the thing, though. Like, you can't be scared, and that's why women end up getting entitled, because they know that you have that feeling of being scared. You can't. Like, it's just
that's just human nature, though.
It is human nature, but at the same time, like, if a woman is not following what you want, like if she's going over your boundaries and you keep letting her keep doing it, then you're disrespecting yourself, and two, you're gonna face issues with her in the longer run. That's why, for any man out there, if you have a boundary and a woman bypass your boundary, leave her. That's the only way she's gonna come back right. Like even the girl I'm with right now, I left her. I left her for like 2 months. She came back, perfect girl ever. I've been with her for 5 years now.
Good for
You
you.
have to leave her. You just leave her. Don't no go back and forth. Ain't no
Do
compromise.
you, do you communicate at all?
Of course,
Or is it just zero tolerance? You leave.
no, like I communicate. Like I tell her 1 or 2 times. Listen, don't do that shit again. Okay, baby, I'm sorry. Or like, what do you mean? Hang up. I won't even talk to her for a day. Blow my phone up. Next day, hello, like we were talking about this. I want you to do this again. Okay, baby, I understand. You just have to just be on point. Like you can't let, cause like if you let one thing slide, she gonna take it. Like it's the same. Give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile. Same thing for women. You give her an inch, she's gonna take a mile. I mean, I don't play that shit. You gonna do what I tell you to do, or I'm out, or I'm not giving you attention. I'm not dealing with you. I'm not. Like no, it doesn't work like that.
Mikey, you're a true alpha, but unfortunately, I have to call an end to this podcast now. If you have guys any last minute words you guys want to say to the audience,
Yeah. Action with steps, all in. Shout out from Jason. Guys, fellas, if you're out there, if you're lazy, remember, no man should be poor. No man should be lazy. Go all in. Take that risk. Get up off your ass and just do, if not for yourself, do it for your family. If not for your family, do it for God. God love a hard man. God love a hardworking man. That is it.
Nice. I just want to thank you guys. This is a lot of fun. I had a good time doing this. You know, I like to talk, so you give me 2 hours to sit with you guys and hear about your lives and your perspective, and it was fun.
yeah, it was really nice.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for your time.
Any last words?
Last words to the community. I know we said some controversial things. Some of us might have said we might not feel bad for poor people. And the reason we say that is because it is truly a mindset. If you're looking for a community of the right mindset, of the highest level mindset, business, sharp, finance, beautifully looking, Iron Man shaped.
Thank
You
you.
want the highest level of individuals, young, inspiring entrepreneurs. Join PeakFlow community. Check out the links down below, and we'll see you all in the next one. Rise to your peak, flow to your rhythm. That is it.
That is it.